Good morning. Welcome to the Breakfast Club. Good morning, Shirley.
Good morning, Joe.
How are you today?
I'm good. Did you have a happy Thanksgiving?
I did. I spent it with a special friend today. Sunday, not Thursday. Thursday, though, I had a great day. I think I saw you there.
Yes, you did.
Yes, you did.
I think that was the best holiday dinner that I've ever had while going out to a restaurant type environment. I mean, it was a community center thing, but I never expected the food to be that good. And you know, I'm almost a food critic.
Yes, and you're almost afraid to go.
I was afraid to go to. You convinced me that real people were cooking food.
Mm-hmm.
No, it really was good. It was amazing.
real people the correct way.
Yeah. No, they did a great job.
Yeah, and it was so nice that all of our Canadian snowbirds were the cooks and the servers. That was nice.
Yeah, that was really special. And of course, Shirley had dinner on Sunday, and let me tell you something. If you people have never had pecan pie, well, no, if you've ever had it, you've never really had it till you had Shirley's. I'll tell you, that is an amazing pie. There is nothing like it anywhere ever that I've ever eaten. It's fantastic. It was great. We had a wonderful day that day.
Excellent. Thank you.
That's great. Everything was fantastic. All right. So anyway, let's kind of get down to business here. So let me just make a few comments, because it is very clear to me, Shirley, that, you know, most of the people I meet that we register and that we influence to bring into Cooler Brands, and it doesn't matter if people are on here from different companies or whatever, which used to be the case with the Breakfast Club, and sometimes still we get other people, but I don't invite others outside of Cooler Brands anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But it's clear to me that people get excited about a business and they speak to their friends, people they know, they influence them, and that's what we call it in Cooler Brands. Companies call it register, or you call it recruit. But the new terminology in the industry is influencing. And so we help others understand what Cooler Brands is and give them the opportunity to participate. And as we look at the entire industry, we see that most people get excited when they join a company, and then all of a sudden, I don't know if it's all of a sudden, it's over time. What happens is they talk to everybody they knew, and everybody they know, and they try to make other contacts, and of course they get rejection, and people say no, and then they don't understand why people say no, and then they recruit as much as they can, and I suspect that maybe 10 people, and I know that's not the average. The average is only about 3 people in the lifetime of a company. The average person recruits 3 people. But there's so many people that come in that do that the company itself grows numbers-wise, but the individual usually doesn't. And that's why we end up with that number of 97% of the people that do not make enough money to make them happy. So the first question would really be, how much time can you really put into, and how much money do you need to make this worth your while? So if you don't have that target right away, You don't have the, I mean, look, everybody wants to know when they go to a company, whether it's a conventional or networking, doesn't matter. They want to know, what do you want me to do and how much are you going to pay me to do it? And if you don't take that first step and identify what it is you need to achieve financially, how much time and how much money, and then learn what it is. And again, most people follow that same pattern they followed for years, and that is they talk to people that they know, influence them, and then I think they go into some almost an automatic mode of all those people are going to do what you did. And if that were true, if everybody did that, then you would grow, the company would grow much faster. But unfortunately, we get people in and they talk to a few friends and nothing happens. And, in order to get, I know the old days, probably still true, is that, you need 50 people to find that one who's going to go to work. That one manager, that one serious person who's going to go to work for the lifetime of the company. So I think people bring a few people in and then say, gosh, I got 10, 15, 20 people, but they're not doing anything. And you're showing up and you're going to chat rooms and you're going to, you're talking to other people and you're giving out cards and flyers and so on. And it's not growing the way it did in the beginning.
I have a couple questions from Jack in Canada.
Jack Lorge?
I don't know.
That's it. All right.
He wants to know, can I make money here right away at Cooler Brands?
Yeah, I was thinking of, it's very funny. I was just thinking of Jack. We've been speaking for weeks now.
And the other question is, how will I know when I can be paid here in Canada by Cooler Brands?
Yeah. Jack is a friend who, again, is in Canada, obviously. And we'll talk today, Jack, as well. But I'll answer those questions. So I thought of Jack when I said, what do you want me to do and how much are you going to pay me to do it? Because we've had these conversations with how soon. In fact, I introduced him to Peter. How soon will that be? As soon as the paperwork is done in Canada, that will be, and that's going to be the first company, and that's going to take a few months. So that's one answer. The second answer, I guess, is based on that question I asked. What do you want me to do? How much are you going to pay me to do it? How soon can I make? What is the exact question, Shirley?
How can I make money here right away at Cooler Brands?
How can I make it right away? Well, you can. The answer to that is, the first part of it is Canada will be registered soon, a couple months. But secondly is that the way to make quick money here, especially with Zip in Store, it would be to sell. Obviously, selling creates 18% commission plus royalty points. And the 18% commission is paid weekly as long as the country is registered. And that's taking place as we speak. That's in motion. Let's put it that way. So we look at this and we say, okay, I am excited about a company, and I come in, and then all of a sudden, if you're listening to this and this happens to be you, and you start to say, I'm not growing the way I wanted to. I don't know. I've talked to, and, what do I do if, and I present to somebody, and then I always hear, I don't understand why they don't see it. And so we run into those difficulties. But the problem is all in one word, and it's called communication. And that means communication from learning how to communicate your message, be willing to go to work with the proper language. And I know this is not new to most people on here, because I talk about this all the time, but it is the key to it. But most people either listen and then they take a communication class and they say, I get it, but they don't follow through. We had someone recently call me, and I asked them, I don't know if they're on the call or not, but I'm going to say it anyway. They asked me, I'm not growing. It's not working out the way I thought it was going to. And we've talked to these people, and I said, here's what I want you to do. I said, can you just answer this question for me? If I were to ask you any of these questions, how would you answer them? And I said, how long have you been with Cooler Brands? Are you making any money right now? Can you tell me more about your company? Now, they're very simple answers. And the answer I got was, well, I'm not really prepared right now. Now, there's a person who's been in this class, who's been with the company a long time, and has been with me quite a long time, years, who could not answer now, the simple question of what is the name of your company? What does your company do? Now, I guess most people on the phone have an answer to that and say, well, that's simple. Here's what you say. The answer is not in the answer itself. It's in the technique. You can't just answer a question and say, well, here's Cooler Brands, and start talking about the company and how it came about and how royalty points are paid. That's not the stage of the conversation that you are in at that moment. When someone asks you questions, it is not your job to start explaining everything. I think if you ask Jack, again, from Canada, when he called me, he had not looked at a piece of information yet, except got our autoresponder letters and called me and said, I'd like you to explain to me what Cooler Brands is. Shirley, I'm going to do a test for you. What do you think I told Jack when I asked him, have you watched the video? And he said, no. The webinar, he said, no. Now, this is the recorded webinar on the autoresponders. Peter's 30-minute. And he told me no. What do you think I told Jack?
Watch the video, the 35-minute video.
Yeah. I guarantee you, if you asked Jack if I answered any question, he would tell you no, I didn't. But I knew the technique of how to tell him to go watch the video. Well, tell me a little bit. Sure, I'd love to do that. But let me tell you how we work. See, all those phrases mean something. They're all attached to the technique. When someone asks a question, you have to be prepared. You have to know where you are going, not where they want to take you. And I promise you, I could put 50 people on the phone from any company, and all 50 of them would stumble if I was the prospect. Until you learn the techniques of communication, learning that when a question is asked, an answer is provided. Let me say it again. An answer is provided. Not the answer that the prospect necessarily is looking for. Because if somebody said to me, well, why don't you tell me how those royalty points work? I am not answering that question the way that most people would, which scares a lot of people because most people probably don't know how they work. I don't go into detail, let's put it that way. The first words out of my mouth are, sure, no problem, let me handle that for you. Now, that handling might be I get somebody else to answer it. It might be that I'm going to say, go watch a video. I am not describing for 15 minutes how royalty points work and so on. That will happen on a three-way conversation as a director, but not as a person making the contact. You can't do that. And if you learn this, if you hear this today for the first time, maybe the 50th time, who knows, and you keep going back doing the same thing, you're not going to succeed. You're still going to be the same place a year from now where you talked to all these people and they said no, and you can't figure it out. You don't know why, and your people aren't doing it, and they're not saying the right. This all comes down to whether you're using Facebook, Twitter, autoresponders, letters, postcards. It all comes down to the day that you pick up the phone and you're speaking to that person. That's where it all counts. All the other things are marketing, which is what you do to get that information in front of them. But now it's time to communicate the message. And there is a technique to all of it. A technique to your speaking to someone, and the objective. What is it that you're trying to do when you pick up the phone? Let me see if people can answer this question. Let me give them a chance to answer here. What is it when you talk to someone? Initially, they've looked at the video and they've called you. They've made contact with you, sent you an email, whatever. Or you called them back because you noticed they looked at it. You saw it in your autoresponder. You saw it in the notice. So when you dial the phone, you say, okay, I'm going to call Jack. What is your goal? So this is the key here now. What is your goal? When you make the phone call. Now you're going to have a conversation. So ultimately, there has to be a goal. There has to be a reason for you to call them. What is that? What is your goal as you speak to them? Let's see if we can get some answers. Come on, be brave and put some answers in the box. And Shirley, I'm not looking at the box, so maybe people can tell. Maybe you can tell me if people are responding to that. What is it? What is your goal when you dial the phone and say, "Hi, Jack, it's Joe Shoup. Giving you a quick call here from Arizona. The reason I called you is you filled out some information and with our company here at Cooler Brands. So what is your goal by the time you hang the phone up? What did you want to achieve?"
Julie says set an appointment for a 3-way call.
Who said that?
Julie.
I can't hear you.
Julie.
I love you, Julie.
Kathy says to influence them. Roland says get them on a 3-way.
Well, isn't that interesting? We have 3 pretty right answers here. But Julie, let me address Julie right away. And I can tell you right now, Julie has been through the communication class. Don't know. I think Kathy, I'm not sure. I don't know which Kathy that is, but I know Julie has. Julie knew the answer right away. She had a goal. She has a goal. When you pick up the phone, the goal is to set an appointment with the director or get them. Now, they've already watched it. So that's one category, because some people you'll talk to that they haven't watched anything. Right? And that is to basically set the appointment after you get them to watch. That's what happened with Jack and me. But someone who's watched something, who has seen some information, your goal is to get them over to a director. If you have to set the appointment to do it, great. If not, you dial and 3-way them in. But that means you're not answering the questions. Why would you go to a director? Why would you do that? A director / manager / 3-way person / upline, whatever you want to call them. We call them a director. Why? So let's ask this question. What is the goal of the director? When you take the person over to the director, what is their goal? What are they supposed to be doing? So let's try that answer, because while I'm continuing to talk, write that answer in there. What is your goal? What is their goal? You take them to a director. What is the responsibility of the director?
Kathy says, no, I have not taken the class yet, but we'll sign up for it as soon as we finish here.
Oh, that's Kathy. Okay, Kathy. Okay, yep. So what is the goal of the director?
Julie says answer questions and close for us.
Okay, let's stay with Julie. If anybody else you want to read me, if they answer, that's fine. But let's stay with Julie.
Okay.
Yes, answer questions. Let me add to that. She's correct. You do have to answer questions as a director. That's why you're taking them over there, is to have a connection here and start this communication with someone who knows more than you do. And you have to accept you don't know. You want the person to know that you don't know the answers. You do, not the director. I'm talking about the community member. You really want them to feel like you don't have all the answers. And the reason for that is so that they realize that when they do that job, they don't have to have all the answers either, because that's not their job. Julie's job was to get them over to the director. That's the objective. So now the director comes in. Now, so let me just preface that with the director's job is to get questions answered as well. We forget sometimes. We think we're taking them to the person who's now going to convince somebody to join you. That's not their job. Their job is to interview that person. And if you don't know how to interview that person, I wouldn't take anybody on a three-way call to someone who did not know the techniques of an interview. We're in a new company here with all new types of things, royalties. Yes, we get paid commissions. This is an amazing concept. Why would we do the same things over and over again that we did before that didn't work? Learn something new. And give it a chance. So yes, answer questions, and here's the key. Direct them to registration. That's why they're called directors. Direct them to registration. But let's go back to the first part. Your job as the director is to ask a few questions. Why? Do you really want to work with everybody you talk to? I mean, seriously, do you honestly, every time you talk to somebody, would you want them to be on your team? And if the answer is yes, then you're going to work with people you probably don't like. And I was always taught 22 years ago is that make sure that when you recruit someone, that you recruit people you like. You're looking for people that you connect with, you have good feelings about. It's not been taught in this industry to interview people properly most of the time. Find out who they are first and let them talk about themselves. There's a technique to that. The first question, Roland will tell you that I asked all of his people, and anybody else, and Shirley and so on, will tell you when they bring them over as a director. And once again, another technique is to introduce the director properly and not tell the prospect that, yeah, Joe, this is Bob's. Go ahead, fire away, Bob, and Joe will answer all these questions for you. That's why we brought you here, because he has all the answers. That is not the technique to use. I want to know first what this person is about. Shirley may have told me what they're about, but that doesn't mean that that's true. It means that that's Shirley's impression. So I have to find out immediately who this person is in order to help them. So my question right away, and I make a statement and say, I know you have some questions for me, Jack, but I need to ask a couple of things first to make sure we're on the same page. So here's my first question, Jack, and we'll get to your questions. But here's my first question. What is it that Shirley said that caused us to get together? In other words, what do you know about our company so far? I have to know if this person really did watch. Does he understand? Does he understand that this is a new concept? Did he see the 30-minute video? I have sometimes discovered the person only saw a 2-minute video, has done nothing else but talk to the other person, and did not watch that 30-minute webinar. I immediately excuse myself from that conversation very nicely and ask them to go watch it so that they would have real questions for me. Decisions are only as good as the facts that those decisions are based upon. So Bob, go get all the facts so that you can make a professional, accurate decision here. And so, but let's say they did watch it and now they start talking. I give them that opportunity right away to talk about themselves. So I want to know what they know about our company. Are you using those techniques? And then I want to know, what do you currently do? How long have you been doing it? And where do you see yourself in 5 years? That's a really good question to find out. Are they really interested here? Where have they been? Where are they going? Do they really have an ambition to work here with us? Maybe they don't. Maybe somebody put them on and you don't know that. If Shirley put somebody on the phone with me, I don't really know if that person, maybe Shirley convinced them, come on, just go listen to Joe. Just go listen. I mean, I know she wouldn't do that, but the truth is you don't know that with everybody. So I could be sitting there on a 20-minute conversation with them, realizing they don't even want to be here. So I have to ask them, where do you see yourself in 5 years? In other words, if the next 5 years of your life looks like the last 5 years, do you see yourself getting ahead or behind? And that will tell you if they're ambitious enough to go to work with us.
You
And
mean
those
I
three,
can't?
yeah.
You mean I can't tell him just to listen to or talk to Joe because he's my friend?
No, yeah, you can do that, but I'll probably hang up on him. Yeah, so those things are important. Then the next step for me is to say, okay, so you know what? I see that you watched the video and it looks like, you know, we might have a match here, but let me explain the company in my terms right now. So there's my next step. This is where I'm going to explain what my vision is. Here's the company. Of course, you know the name of the company, Jack. And we follow those steps. It's a pattern you follow. How long the company has been around, and you know what it is that we're looking for. So let me see if somebody can actually write down in the box. If someone, because I say to people, you know, I don't know if you qualify. I don't know. So if somebody said to me, well, what does it mean to qualify? Or what are you looking for in a person? What would you say? What kind of person are we looking for? Now, those who've been through the class, it ought to be a breeze. You should be able to answer that just like that. But again, these are all techniques. It's a pattern of behavior that you follow to find the interested party, not to interest them. I don't want to interest somebody on the phone during a director call. I don't want to interest them in it. They have to be interested at that point to at least look further. That's what Jack's doing. I mean, that's no secret. Jack is looking further. He's busy with a couple of other things, but he's looking and taking pieces and evaluating, and we talk. So what kind of person are we looking for? So as you get to that point and find out where they see themselves, are they ambitious? Maybe they go, well, I see myself, you know, as, you know, kind of relaxing in life, and I'm not really, and they give you one of those answers. Well, you know what? You can still register those people, but at least you know who they are. But chances are they're not going to register. They're not going to join our company. When they tell me, look, you know what? I don't want it to go the way it's going in the last 5 years, but if it keeps going that way, I'm going to end up the same way. That's why I'm here. I know I have someone who's teachable, someone who has ambition. I go, well, it does sound like we have a match, Jack. Let me explain a little bit more about the company, tell you why I'm here, and then we'll get to your questions. So I lay that out. And I ask them, you know, what are your questions? What questions do you have for me? And at that point, I've answered a few that they've had. Answering some questions. And then I have to, and somebody said this, it might have been Kathy that said close. Yes, my job now is to make a closing statement and move them to registration. And believe me, if you don't know how to do that, you better not be doing three-way calls for anybody. I'm sure most of you have been on calls where you've three-wayed somebody in any company and they've spent 30, 40 minutes talking about who knows what and had no real objective. So you have to ask the question. Anytime in a sale, the last thing you do is ask for the sale. So Jack, with a little bit of coaching and training and a lot of support from our team here at Cooler Brands, including Shirley, including me, can you see yourself doing what it takes to learn how to be successful here at Cooler Brands? That's a simple question. That puts them right on the spot. If they're ready, they're going to tell you. If they say, well, I need a little bit more, I got to think about it, that's okay. I'm not going to sit there and try to convince them at that stage. Most of the time, through this networking industry, people have taught you to say more at that point. Try to get them to say yes. No, I'm not asking Jack to say yes at that point. I'm saying, I understand where you are, Jack. Here's what we need to do. What other information would be valuable to you to make that decision? I'll get it over to you. Shirley, you'll get it over to you. And then we'll get back together again and we'll see if we're on the same page and can make a decision at that time. It does sound like there's a match, Jack. So from our end, we will offer the support that you need. We'll just need to get back together and see. But Jack, before we go, let me ask you a question. And I would ask them, who else do you know other than yourself that might be interested in, that would be interested in a career change for the right money? It's a nice way to close the call. If the person says, well, I see myself doing it. Yes, I see myself being successful. What do you think would happen at that point? I would say, Jack, we need to get you registered. Why? Because we're not going to know if we have a match. Again, this is the technique. We're not going to know if we have a match here until we lock arms for a period of time and see if we really are on the same page. So we'll do that. We'll get you registered. Shirley will help you with that. And we'll lock arms for, I don't know, 4 to 6, 8 weeks. At that point, we can reevaluate and see if we're on the same page. If we are, we'll continue to move forward. If we're not, we can shake hands, wish each other well. The worst thing that can happen for you, Jack, is you'll learn about this program and how to receive royalties on products for a lifetime. Does that sound fair, Jack? See, with that type of conversation, you're a business person. You're not trying to explain everything, but you don't understand. It's so wonderful, and everybody's great here, and the royalties, and my gosh, you should see this zip and stuff. I don't think maybe a handful of times we've actually mentioned the products. It's not that important. If they want to know, great. We send them again to a video. Go watch the Zip and Store video. So did we get an answer to that other question? I forget the question now. What kind of person are we looking for?
Oh, yeah. Julie says honest, ambitious, and likes to work with people.
Yeah.
We're past the half hour.
Is that Julie again?
Yes, that was Julie.
Wow. See, this is somebody that did their homework. Honest, ambitious, works well with others. Likes to work with others. Yeah. I remember one time when I asked that question and I told them what we were looking for, and this person said, I don't even like working with people. Now, do you think we want them in the company? Come on. This happened years ago. Didn't happen here. Said, no, I don't really like people at all. I don't like working with them. I said, well, let me ask you a question. Who do you know that would be interested in a career change for the right money, Bob? I'm not offended by that. I'm not upset that this isn't the right person. Look, you have to look for people who are interested, not try to interest them. Let me show you before we go here. I don't even know what time it is, Shirley.
10:36.
36. Well, let's close this by this. Let me see if I can share my screen here. And I'll run through a few things here. Entire screen, share screen, Shirley. I'm going to hide that and go to this. How's that? Okay. Can you see that?
Yeah, I see it.
Let's just take a look and
That's better. I can even read it now.
This class is designed to change your thinking on how you've communicated your message in the past with potential business partners. Julie, I want you to write in there. You've taken the class, roll, and all these people. Put in there what this class did for you. Just to put a couple words in there. Did it help you? I mean, I'm putting myself on the line here. Not supposed to ask questions that you really don't know what the answer is going to be. So I'm pretty sure I know what it's going to be. I can hear it in her language here. It's designed to teach you how to communicate your message professionally and learn your role. Notice that the word your role is bolded because you do have to know, are you the community member or are you the director during the call? This is the key thing you learn in the class, and how to operate based on knowing your role.
I don't have anything up there yet. Oh, Julie says, best class I have ever taken in my 40 years.
Oh my. Oh, thanks, Joy. And it's showing.
Jack says, thank you for answering my question.
You're welcome. Look, communication. Most people don't know really. I know we think we know what it means, talking to people. Communication isn't talking to people. You can have communication without talking. As some of you know, I'm an animal trainer, and I can tell you that wolves in a wolf pack, they don't talk. They exchange communications in different ways. So it's not about talking. It is the purposeful activity of information exchange between two or more participants in order to convey or receive the intended meanings through a shared system of signs and semiotic rules. Look, the basic steps, and this is what people need to learn, steps. Like when you're making a phone call, there's steps to follow. The basic steps of communication are the forming of communicative intent, message composition, message encoding, transmission of signal, reception of signal, message decoding, and finally, interpretation of the message by the recipient. Here's what that means. It means I talk. I say, Shirley, I'm looking out my window, and some person is walking down the street bouncing a red ball. Now, the only way I'm going to know if Shirley, and I communicated, I said something, but I haven't communicated yet, and I'm not going to know that until Shirley says, oh, I hear what you said. There's a person walking down the street bouncing a red ball, and I know. I know that the intent of my message was received and interpreted properly by the recipient. Now, I know that sounds simple. And that's the process right there. But here's the real problem with it. The single biggest problem with communication is the illusion that it has taken place. George Bernard Shaw. And I'll leave you with this. Just because you're talking don't mean they're listening. So you must ask questions, the proper questions, to find out if this is really an interested party. Are you on the same page? Is this recipient of this information, this communication that is going on, is this a person who you want to work with? Or do they want to work with us? Did you find out if they see themselves being successful here at Cooler Brands with a lot of support from us, this little training, little coaching, and a lot of support? Can you see yourself doing what it takes to be successful here? And if they say yes, you can always go back to that. And that's what I had to do to this person last week. Well, I don't know. I mean, I know the answer, but I can't say it right now because, okay, why not? If you don't know how to communicate what this company is, and I can be honest with you, most people here probably don't, because they think they have to explain the company. The director's job is to do that. Your job is to say, sure, I understand, and then follow the pattern and the behavior of the 5 steps of explaining a company. The name of the company, how long they've been around, how many countries that they can participate or ship to, what the company does and what you do. Those 5 steps are important when you're communicating with a person. So I will leave you with that, the single biggest problem. And this is why people's business is not growing, is because they don't know how to grow it. They don't know how to plant the seed, cultivate it, the soil, and keep that growing, because they don't understand the techniques of communication. It's the basic problem in this entire industry. And that's the start of it all. And once you learn that, and you learn when you pick up a phone, you have no fear whatsoever. You know your objective. You know where you're going. You're not going to be upset if this isn't the right person. Just keep searching for the right ones with the same techniques over and over again. So with that, Shirley, if there's any other questions, great. If not, do you have any questions or comments to make? And then we'll say, have a wonderful day.
No, I have nothing. There's no other questions on here.
Well, thanks for participating today, everyone, and especially you, Shirley. And Julie, I am impressed and excited for you. Keep studying, keep doing, keep going over and learning what you need to learn to don't make communication part of your problem. That's my message today, is don't let that be the problem. Learn these techniques, learn how to talk to a person properly. And Julie, you have obviously done so. So thank you and congratulations. So Jack, if you want to call me right after the call, that would be great. I know you called me yesterday. I didn't get that message till late, but I will look forward to your call. And I think there were a couple other people that might have called I didn't respond to as well. So we'll go through that today. But Shirley, thanks a million for always being a great manager. I appreciate it. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day. And we will see you next week at the Breakfast Club. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
My pleasure.
Let's see if I can find my way out of this now. Let's try that. There we go. Stop sharing. There we go.
Just back up. Keep backing up.
All right. I'm backing up. There we go. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.
Okay.